Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 10 finale. Was it worth the wait? You guys thought I was going to do it again. I was close. Last night I was just rolling right into some Play Dead Live because we've done so many streams and had so much fun over the last 9 months. But we are talking The Walking Dead tonight, and we got a good show for you guys. This is the new me, so hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear tonight. I know last night was a little bit rough. We did a test stream earlier today. So if you guys can hear me loud and clear the second time around, do me a favor. Just give me a quick thumbs up. Say, we got you. Appreciate that. I do want to give a quick shout out. You guys can see them up on the screen. The Patreon Army, unbelievable. What a group of supporters we have here. The Patreon Army, the PDL sponsors, the players, the green team up there, the mods, and of course, all of you guys, the Walking Dead 999 Army, absolutely love to be here hanging out with you guys. So I did want to put a scene up on the screen that I loved last night. Might have got lost in the madness, but certainly this was, to me, one of the most poignant and incredible parts of all of it. I just kind of felt immersed in everything that they were doing. I'm going to do a little bit more of an extended reaction tonight. You guys have had 24 hours, a little less than 24 hours to think about it. And let's throw the numbers up there again one more time. So from a 1 to a 10, now that you've had 21 hours to sort of assess the goodness of The Walking Dead and whether or not it was worth the wait, give me your score, and then let me know if you actually changed your score, either higher or lower. Let me know if you've made any modifications. Busy Bee coming in at 8.9. I'm not changing anything. I'm staying with what I give last night. I liked it. Deadly Dimes, you were 10 last night, right? So Dimes dropped it just a little bit, just like 0.2. Father Ron 7. Too many things that he has issues with. We'll talk about a few of those tonight. I mean, certainly we're not going to bash the show. Hippo, do I sound better? He just said different. Didn't say better, didn't say worse. Just, you sound a little different. If we were talking face to face, this is what I would sound like. So you guys have probably, it's probably like a new me. It's like, this isn't the guy that I've been listening to for 6 years. No, it is. I'll say something silly and stupid, and you'll realize, yep, that's Kills. No change. No change in the demeanor, just change in the sound. Far away? I am far away. All right, let's get into some Walking Dead. We've had, look at this. My long lost friend, Gina Rocket Crockett. Gina said that when we talked, it was going to be like the principal's office. How you doing, Gina? Good to see you. We have a few things to talk about. You are forgiven. Hopefully you can make it the whole stream this time. Anyway, we miss Gina. We know she is recently relocated, so just kind of planting some new roots, and appreciate you willing to take it. All right. Well, I'll dish it out later on. Well, we got a lot of people here, a lot of new people. Playback has been phenomenal. So, yeah, thank you. Everybody notices. Ugh. Wow, did I sound that bad? Now I'm going to be like super self-conscious. All right. Well, let's get into the episode. So we've got a lot of good stuff to talk about. I appreciate you guys putting your scores up there. I see you, Donnie T. And I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to go from my notes to your comments, super chats, participation. I'll try to get as many comments as I possibly can. But certainly if I'm in the middle of a conversation and you something stands out, I'm going to jump over to your chat about things that you like. So I'm going to structure the question a little bit differently. Which story are you most looking forward to? Not what did you like the most, but based on what we saw last night, there were several loose ends. What is it that you're looking forward to seeing get answered? I mean, God knows they answered the beta question over and over and over again as far as who he is, and he's a singer and he's popular, and they really wore that out. But I want to see what the next chapter is going to be. So Casey says Maggie. I agree. Jim Stone says Maggie and Negan. Commonwealth, maybe the transition. Who the ninja is. So some interest in the ninja, some interest in how Negan and Maggie are going to react. How about Connie? Is there any reason to think that Connie might change? That maybe she's not going to be super cool, that she was trapped in there? I'm not saying she becomes a villain, but could there be some reason for some anger? It'd be unexpected. I mean, I don't think so. I like to write in like twisted narratives, but I really think that it is it was just tying another loose end. I'd be mad too. Y'all left me stuck here, didn't wait around, try to get me out, dig those rocks out. I mean, how did she get out? And I mean, clearly there was another exit or entrance, but she found a way out. She didn't dig through all those rocks. They gave up on her. And apparently they gave up before they surrounded the whole area to look for another entrance. She might go punch Carol in the face. Yeah. Hey, I'd like to see it. Let's do it. So let me ask this: the Maggie comeback. We all knew it was going to happen, so there was no surprise there. But we didn't know when it was going to happen. So underwhelming, overly hyped, or perfect? Just right. Right place at the right time. I mean, there's still some people that see. I don't get this. Maggie is not a worse villain than Negan. So some say overly, some say underwhelming. Valerie Feldman said it's perfect, convenient, overly hyped. I liked it because I didn't really know what was going to happen with Father G. So I thought it was perfectly done to me. She didn't monopolize the scene. She was kind of cool the way she made it back. And we didn't see it at the time, but Maggie and the ninja actually saved Aaron and Alden. I mean, we didn't see Maggie as part of that, but we know after the fact by piecing it together. So they got there just in the nick of time, and I didn't think it was like too much. I mean, she helped him when he needed help. And yes, she did ignore RJ. I know that. So, we have another dilemma because we went through 2 seasons of Negan redemption. So the question I have for you guys is, what is going to take to get the Maggie redemption? And full disclosure here, I like Maggie better now than I did 3 seasons ago. Well, because I never really liked Maggie, to be honest. I mean, I didn't dislike her. I was like Maggie neutral. And now I think I like her. So I went from being Maggie neutral to not really liking her and having a pretty epic rant about the whole situation to kind of, I like her coming back and adding a little bit of toughness and stability to a group that's now missing Michonne. Oh, well, you're kind of nitpicking a little bit. I'd like her to fight her own battles. It's been like 6 years. She's rebuilt. I mean, that's kind of, that's a little kind of petty in this day and age. What do you mean fight her own battles? She's there. There's 2 of them. There were like 10,000 Guardians. What do you mean fight her own battles? Like leave the ninja at home and 10,000 on one? Well, she could have killed him. It wasn't a matter of not killing Negan. The path to get there was, let's look at Carol's story and let's look at Maggie's story. I thought Daryl said something, and I do think in hindsight, let's compare Carol and Maggie. So Carol lost all of this, right? And I think this is hidden in last night's episode. So how many people remember Daryl saying to Carol, "Did you get what you wanted?" After everything Carol did, she was in bed with the devil. She made a deal with Negan to kill Alpha. She went to the end of the earth for redemption for what happened to her family. And she suffered with all these demons, and we watched it, right? We saw her do it. And then Daryl says to her, "Did you get what you want?" And she said, "No, but I won't." So I want you to freeze that. All right, take that, put it in an ice cube, freeze it, and forget about it for a second. Now let's go to Maggie. Maggie took a completely different path. She had Negan right there. She could have killed Negan. Negan even said, like, "Go ahead, kill me." In that jail cell, it could have been done. So, Julia, it's not a battle. It's not a situation of her fighting her own battles. She had baby Herschel to think about, like what kind of future is revenge going to take over? Then she had what Rick wanted. Rick's wish was to leave him in there and let him be an example. And then ultimately she decided, let me just leave and start over. And I would challenge you to say she was done, right? She only came back because she was asked to come back. She didn't pop back in and say, hey, look, Maggie's back. And this is why I've been gradually sort of getting over the whole rant thing, because how they're bringing her back, she was comfortable. They sent her a note. She read the note, and then she felt a sense of obligation that she was willing to risk her life for that group, even though Herschel's back there. Now, we haven't got to the Negan Maggie story yet about the coexisting, and I do think that's going to be a super, super strong narrative. But I find the irony in Carol and Maggie both had a similar story, and we got to see both of them do something, and neither one probably got what they wanted. Carol's still going to have to start over, but it's never going to erase what happened to Henry. Maggie's already started over, and it's not going to erase what happened to Glenn. So, in a weird sort of way, is killing Negan even important when we've already seen that it didn't work for Carol to kill Alpha? You guys get what I'm saying? It's the writers did something I think brilliant. They almost made it possible. I hate to say it like this. They almost made it possible for the two of them to coexist. And I never thought that I would even look at it that way, but in a twisted sort of way, Carol's story now gives the possibility, because we've already seen Daryl coexist with Negan. We've seen Judith. So here's the question that I would ask. Judith has seen something in Negan. So is it possible now that Maggie will just not invite him over for dinner? And an additional question for the group. Is Negan misunderstood? It's not a simple yes or no answer. And I'm going to tell you why I asked this question. Is Negan so guilt-ridden? See, in the past, he used this carefree persona because it was who he was. And now, does he hide behind it because it's not who he is? And is it a fate worse than death that he has to walk around with the demons of what he did to Abraham and what he did to Glenn? And is Maggie understanding of that? Like, why do I need to make him suffer anymore? He suffers every single day because he wants to be a better person, but he's probably having these dreams and he can't ever shake it. So she knows that that's probably enough torture. That's the psychological torture, and who knows, one day it might completely break him because he's going to be somebody or pretend to be somebody that he really isn't. Now, some of us are going to say, you know what? Hey, you can't change your stripes. That's who he is. But it's not who he is to Judith. He took what Daryl said to heart. I think it's funny that Negan is super clean. And so how many people here think that Negan always intended to go help with Beta, but he just didn't want to be obvious about it around the group? That he always had a plan to sneak away. He wasn't like sneaking away and then changed his mind. Hey, You want to be a part of what we're doing? You need to help. It's like Daryl is basically telling him what we already know. You want to fit in? You need to do something. So I think Daryl's words hit him. Carol had already made a deal with him. Lydia accepts him. And Judith accepts him. So look at the support that he has. Now, I'm not saying he can't be exiled. But I think here's something that I may have missed and maybe many of you have missed. Like, we use the word coexist, right? Whoever said Maggie was coming back? There may be no reason for them to coexist. Maggie may have been just kind of like a 1 or 2 shot deal. She came back. She tried to help. Work's done. Time to take Judy and RJ back. Let them meet Herschel. And by the way, Negan, you can stay here. You're not coming back with us. So I didn't necessarily want this to be a bold prediction video tonight. But I've been thinking about this a little bit. Because it does appear that Alexandria has seen its better days. Now, this Commonwealth story certainly could have a way to bring them together. Yeah, Nixie, I don't even know. Tolerate is an option. I feel more like getting stuck in a bad situation again. Here's what I mean by that. Fate sort of kept Negan alive. Aaron was going to kill him. The council was going to kill him. Carol freed him. Carol cut a deal with him. So Carol is probably indifferent, but Carol could have killed him. So we don't think that Carol wants him dead. Once the alpha kill was done, and Carol kind of went back on her word a little bit, she could have just like, you know what, you're not worth it, let me kill you too. Didn't have to even look at him again. So Carol's sticking to some of her word. Daryl doesn't want him dead. Carol doesn't want him dead. Aaron did. Aaron will probably change and see some value. Lydia is Team Negan. Judy loves him to death. So, here we are again. We might be Maggie versus everybody else. So, I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. And I want to get to kind of the strategy of loading up a wagon with music. I mean, let's be honest here. It's pretty dumb. I mean, it was a bad plan. One, it took a lot of resources to do it. Number two, it was risky. And number three, it's probably this is the reason why I could not give this episode a 10. Because all the Whispers really needed to do was stop the wagon. Or blow up the wagon. Or even throw rocks at the speakers. I mean, there's a lot of things that they could have done. Now, I like the fact that the plan was foiled really quickly. I don't like the fact that they were so naive into thinking it was going to work. Because it was not even, it was not even close to being successful. And I thought the Whispers were really cool using the Guardian shields. But ultimately, what won for them was taking out the Whispers, right? They got desperate and they just kind of mingled and they wanted to get in there. They did pick a good song, so that's true. So I have to go back and watch this, but I want you guys to do me a favor. Was there a mistake with the time lapse? Maybe I'm wrong with this, but you guys can help me out. Because I'm just going off of memory here. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the wagon was going along in the daytime. And Father G was there, and everybody started leaving. So in theory, in real time, it was still daytime. So then a couple, and the Whispers were almost breaking down this door. And then it became nighttime. And then Daryl radioed to Father G, like, get them out of there. And then shortly after, the door broke down. So it's almost like they lost a couple hours. I don't know. I'm going to go back and check it out. I only saw it twice. But I'm trying to figure out how Father G would have been there for 2 hours and the Whisper didn't break the door down. Like I said, I might have missed like a key detail or a key element. But if that would have played out the way I think it played out, then everybody went down the elevator shaft at daytime, and then Father G was still there, and it took the Whisper, because then they went to night, and then it took that Whisper 2 hours to kick that last little piece of door in after it had already broken. You guys double check that, because, like I said, it might be me. But I like, I try to watch all of these little small details. What do you guys think about Ezekiel? You think he is super legit? Think he is going to be healed? He's the king again? I mean, he's not coughing. Not that I noticed. He seemed pretty healthy. Oh no, Kel is comparison, making the comparison to Grace. Maybe he's just pregnant. Yeah, well done. Well done. Feels good to talk about The Walking Dead, huh? I mean, we got all these ideas and theories and reactions, and I'm pretty excited to see what next year's going to bring. But I do think we've got to have a little bit of a twist. I mean, the Commonwealth is a cliffhanger. And I know Walking Dead fans don't love cliffhangers, but I think this was a necessary one. Whoa, Matt. You think Ezekiel's going to get bit? They're going to help him, take him somewhere and get him bit? I I think this group is just it's precautionary. I do too. I like the cliffhangers. Gives us more to speculate. Yeah, you know, Ron, I could I could certainly understand that. I It almost turned into a superhero type of movie. I mean, we pretty much lost Beatrice. They lost like every single Whisper and Beta and 10,000. So one death versus like 10,000 and 500. But you know what? Let's not fret because I mean we could see a little bit more death in future episodes. Wait, is that like a real Sheila? Is that like a real tear over Beatrice? Who's Beatrice? Nobody likes Beatrice. Beatrice isn't even Rachel. She's like less than Rachel. Like I might shed a tear over Rachel because she's the one that flipped off Tara, which I liked, and then she grew up. But come on, nobody misses Beatrice. We did meet Beatrice before last night. Beatrice was one of the ones. It was Beatrice and Cindy and Rachel and the ladies from Oceanside. She was one of the ones that was roughhousing with Tara when Tara got washed up on the shore. I mean, we didn't even lose Diana. Come on. I'll see your Beatrice, and I'll raise you an Alden and a Diana. At least give us those two. We didn't even lose Alden. Not that I would have cried over Alden either. I'd have been like, Alden, fine, fair enough. Well, it's exactly my point. I mean, Diana's much, much more airtime and has done more. So I would have at least, I wouldn't have put a crying emoji if we would have lost her, but still, I would have understood it a little bit more. I thought Beatrice was a little bit weak. You know what? Here, at least, how about Luke and Jules? That would have been like some Romeo and Juliet stuff. Leave Beatrice, take down Luke and Jules. But yeah, I thought the deaths were a little weak. That's the other reason. I still gave it a 9. I mean, crazy plan to play music. It's like we've seen that before. I think this is the 4th time we've seen The Walking Dead use music to lure walkers. But this time there were some people. There's some real people that jumped up on there and started destroying it. Or you know what? Magna would have been a good death too. Like, I think they're saving something for us. So look, Rosita did not get the epic cliff death that I'd hoped for. So, what's Rosita still doing there? They couldn't kill Father G. If you think of the people they could have killed last night, Luke, Rosita, Father G, Magna, Jerry, I mean, Alden. There's like 6 people. Any of those 6 would have been, okay. Did not have Beatrice on my Walking Dead 2020 bingo card, that's for sure. If you would have asked me yesterday, like, which character's most likely to die, I would have probably said, is Beatrice still there? Yeah, I agree. Other than Beta, the biggest death of the night was Alpha's mask. So, Father Ron, I see where you're going with that. I understand it. Probably could have lowered my score a little bit more, probably to an 8.7. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna stay with a 9 now. I'm gonna stay with it because I think the promise of there's something else. So let me ask you guys this. The Commonwealth has to be bad, right? Because Beta's gone. The Walkers are gone. Maggie's back. If any of these characters are going to die, the question is, who's going to kill them? We are in a Fear the Walking Dead conundrum. which means we're all out of villains, everybody. We got a whole bunch of good people, and we don't have any strong villains to take our team out. Fluff says Jerry deserved to live just for sneaking up behind Magna like that. That boy's awfully big to be sneaking. Fluff always gets me in trouble with his super chats. Jerry is stealthy. So let me ask it from this perspective, okay? Take your soap opera fan hats off. We love every character on The Walking Dead. I get it. I feel your passion. But put all that to the side. How many people feel like, again, Beta is the weakest villain in Walking Dead history? What did Beta even do? I said this. I'm going to rant. I'm going to rant on this because I said if Beta didn't kill somebody, that he was weak. Big, bad, mean Beta. Holy shit, you know who that is? That's all I heard. But he didn't do anything. Did he kill Gamma? So, I think they missed an opportunity with Beta killing a couple people last night. I think instead of the whole build up and the wagon and all of that stuff, I would have liked to see. He made a cool mask. Touche. I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think of like some of the other Whispers that might have had more kills than Beta. Yeah, right? I agree. So let's do this, and we'll have another stream. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to extend this stream. How about that? We got good conversation. So instead of closing this down, doing a 9:30 stream and tying into the Walking Dead universe, you know what? Let's just keep talking. You guys want to take a break and do another stream in 30 minutes? You guys want to stay here? Let me know. If you guys want to stay here, hit that damn like button and say, we're going to stay here. We're going to talk a little bit more. Because I'm about to put you guys in an alternate universe. We're gonna write a different story of how it could have went. Because I think when you dig down into the psychology of the Walking Dead and what would have made Beta's death even better, we're gonna write a twisted version of that. Awesome, Lisa Marie. Got the 9-9 t-shirt. Right, Maurice? And Maurice's like, let me grab a beer. If we're gonna get if you guys need a break to grab a beer, go grab a beer. I'll keep doing what we do. Because I have to be careful to kind of walk that line of not thinking that, hey, I'm just like the antagonist that always wants everybody on The Walking Dead to die. I really don't. And maybe it's a viewer perspective after seeing it play out that we've got the luxury of sort of saying, okay, well, I would have done it this way. But I would like to have been on the pre-production team. And here's what I mean by that. It felt pretty good when Daryl stabbed him in the eyes. I'm not going to lie about that. I just think, you almost had this like, ooh, like that, right? Like, hey, Negan calls him, he runs over, knocks Negan down. Negan's not going to die. And then all of a sudden, here comes Daryl, stab. Okay, it's cool because it's Daryl and is stabbing somebody with knives. That's a low bar, though. If Daryl would have did that same move to a walker, it would have been cool. If Daryl would have did that move with anybody, still would have been cool. But let's look at Beta again. And again, I ask you guys the question, what did he do? Nothing. He didn't do anything. Supposed to be a badass. I wanted to see Beta just like body slamming people and breaking their backs. Just a lot of it. So, real simple pulse check here. Who was more of a badass? Simon or Beta? Now see, this should not even be a question that I have to ask. I shouldn't even have to raise this question. This hurts me. It hurts me to see everybody type Simon. Because there's no way in the world that Simon should have been a better villain than Beta. Just shouldn't have happened. So, it's a big, big missed opportunity with the Whispers. I agree. Simon by far. Because Simon had a better story. Acting was really good too. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Love your alternate scenarios. But I'm just going to try to add a little bit of spice to it and juxtapose it against something else. Simon did things that really got under your skin. Right? I mean, he visited Alexandria. He had the Sharpie, to mark Carl's arm where they were going to cut it off. So they did a lot of emotional torture. So I get it that Beta is not going to be the psychological torturer. But if you're not going to do that, then you need to compensate for it by snapping people in half. Like, let me ask this question. Wouldn't it have been a little bit cooler if Beta would have been the one to kill Jesus? I mean, at least if we had that in the back of our mind, and I said, what did Beta do? Well, he killed Jesus. Yep, you're right. So we got that. I mean, you're going to kill him anyway, so why not give the kill to Beta? Wouldn't it been kind of cool to see, this sounds kind of warped and twisted, but I'm going to say it anyway. To see Beta as the one who decapitated Enid? Ooh, that would have hit a nerve, right? Because then we'd have been like, oh man, a son of a bitch. He killed Enid. We'd have been angry about it. He needed some death baggage. And we needed that to manifest for a little bit. So, see, Jim, I don't disagree with that. So Jim says he stood by and supported the abuse of Lydia. But see, that's lost on the viewers because you don't see it. It's implied. Now, in the comic book, we know it's different. But in the TV show, it didn't resonate. See, on the TV show, you need to see psychological torture or abuse or just killing people. Like, those are things that, as viewers, it gets you riled up. So they had over a year to do this. They took the time to write in a country music singer storyline in Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead, but we couldn't have him choke slam Alden or Aaron. So Maggie showed up, but hey, why not let him kill Aaron? I like Aaron. Or wouldn't Beta have been more of a badass? Aaron's got like all these devices on his arm. All right, here we go. So Aaron and Alden are out in the woods. I mean, what are they doing out there anyway? They're out there looking for the Whispers and Beta. And all of a sudden, they get completely surrounded by Whispers. Sun goes down. It's starting to get dark. Aaron's trapped. But Aaron's got this ball and chain mace hand. And he goes up, him and Beta, in the center. And he swings right at Beta's face. And Beta just puts up a hand and stops it. And rips off his arm. And sticks his fist right through Aaron's throat. And Aaron dies. And we watch Aaron gasp and breathe his final breath. Okay, now if they would have done that, then I would have hated Beta. Then, when Daryl stabbed him in the eyes and everybody went, ooh, they'd have been like, yeah, kill him, right? That would have been the emotion. So I think the emotional scale could have been much higher if they would have given Beta a little bit more of the villain role. Not the implied bad guy. And in most cases, the better the kill, the more you want to see that person killed. Case in point. Alpha, slow start. At what point did you really, really despise Alpha? Think about this. Think about what Alpha did, what was implied that she did, but there was one particular part that changed it for me. I'm not disagreeing with you, Rocket. She said, there's the sick and twisted kills we know and love. You know, there you go. Gemstone, you got it. Okay, the Pike scene, I didn't hate her for that. Sneaking into the kingdom, I didn't hate her for that. Making Sadiq watch, that's when I knew, without a doubt. She needs to die. So we waited the whole off season to see that, right? We knew the barn happened, but we had to live through the flashbacks of Sadiq, and then we actually had to see it play out. So from that point on, we wanted her dead. But before then, you guys were a part of those streams, right? You've heard me say, Alpha's supposed to be the worst villain of all time. I don't see it. I don't feel it yet. And in most cases, I asked you guys, and you guys said the same thing. But when we got to that Sadiq scene, it turned it up. Now, she still wasn't worse than the governor. She still wasn't worse than Negan. But she got on the map at that point. But if I look at the alpha beta storyline in its totality, nah. I mean, does anybody here, and it's okay if you do, does anybody here feel like alpha and beta are the best villains ever on the Walking Dead TV show? So far. Joey, that bar is really low. We're going to get like maybe 2 yeses. But I agree, Fluff, not even close. Now, if I ask the follow-up question of could they have been, and this is why I want to get to some of the alternate situations. All right, so let me put the ball back in your court. See, I'm not good at a lot of things, but this is something I am good at. I have the ability to get you to temporarily pause your fandom to support my case. And here's what I mean by that. If you don't think that Alpha was the best villain, and you were in charge of making her the best villain, what would you have had her done? Or do? What would you have had her do? What, if you were writing Alpha's story, how would it have been different? Pike Maggie? That's one. Everybody give me something. Give me something she could have done that would have made you despise her. That would have made her like top evil in your book. Kill RJ and Grace. Take Judith. Kill Judith, says Rocket. Wow. Who's sick and twisted now, Gina? Really? Kill Judith, Gina? You call me sick and twisted? Come on now. Yeah, but Ragman, they're not going to do that on TV. You know that. I mean, a realistic narrative. Kill Henry in front of Carol. Carry the heads of the Pike victims around. Is there, other than Judith, is there another kill that you think would have really hit home with the group? Would have really made you feel it? Rosita? Ezekiel? So these are all good suggestions. But see, the problem is the very things that you suggest are a lot of the same things that people oppose or say, oh, they never do that. Or I'll stop watching if they ever do that. And that's why if you really want a villain, I mean, they didn't hold back with Negan. They didn't hold back with Governor. I mean, I still think the Herschel scene is probably one of the most memorable in Walking Dead history. there's a Funko with decapitated Herschel. You guys know that? Like, you can buy it. It's about $300, I think. But it was such an iconic moment that they made a collectible. So, because they didn't do these things, it weakened the storyline. Somebody else mentioned it. I saw it scroll by just a minute ago. And said she could have just went in and did what she was going to do without playing any games. Yeah, that probably would have helped a little bit too. Your people killed my people. But instead of killing your people, I'm just going to move this stick 6 more feet so you can't cross over into our land. I mean, it's pretty much what she did, right? Like, we're just going to move the marker. Not going to kill anybody right now. We could gun you all down, kill you all, but nah, we're just gonna take about 6 feet of land. It's very fertile land. We might want to plant some corn or something. But I think that there were ways to sort of add to it. And by default, because Alpha didn't really exceed our expectations, Beta never really got the chance to. So I don't think is there anybody here that didn't think Beta was going to die? Is there anybody here that thought, nope, they're going to leave him alive? It was probably the most non-shocker death that I've ever seen on The Walking Dead. I thought there was like a 98% chance that he was going to die. Me too, Nixie. I would have loved to have him kind of get away, and maybe the group survived it. But now there's really no threat, and it kind of gets back to what we were talking about earlier, is we've got all these survivors, and it's going to take some major event. And I think we've done this quite a bit, and it's kind of fun to do it, to be honest, is the retro effect. Like, this is what I mean by this. All right, the group's safe, and maybe they have to relocate. They're walking along. Father G steps in a hole. There's a pit viper in there, bites him, he dies. And then we're going to look back on it and say, wait a minute. You survived 10,000 walkers and a whisper breaking in the door, but you died by a snake bite? And I think that's the problem they run into from time to time. So why not give those kills to Beta? So, I mean, think about this. Alpha had that sawed-off shotgun. So what if another Whisper had Alpha's shotgun and Rosita's running out? They break in. Where was Rosita? We didn't see Rosita until the very end. But, then they break in. Put Rosita and Father G in that situation where she's got to run with baby Coco. And then she gets Lori's scene from the comic. It certainly would have elevated the whispers a little bit more. Beta was just a madman at that point. It was all about tightening the herd and killing Beatrice. How about? I mean, here's an alt situation. How about Kelly? What would you guys have thought if Kelly would have died instead of Beatrice? And Beta would have been able to kill Kelly in that whole little area. I mean, I think that would have been a little bit more powerful. Yeah, exactly. So you kill Kelly, and then at the end of it, you have Connie, and then you realize, like, oh man, Kelly's going to die, never seeing her sister again. Yeah, I mean, I think that would have hit home a little more. I think that would have hit the audience a little bit more, and it just would have been that lingering effect. I mean, still, you might not have felt it at the moment. Oh, you know what would have been even better, B-Dub? All right, I got it. Okay, let me put you guys in a moment. Let's not wait till the very end to reveal Connie was alive. How about a slow motion, frame by frame? So take out Beatrice and put Kelly in that situation. And Kelly walks by, but instead of a walker, Beta stabs her right to the gut. And Beta's so strong and powerful, he picks her up with his left hand, still on his knife, and just brings the knife down real fast. Like, just throws her. And then she bounces. And then, like, the walkers go in and rip her apart. And while that's happening, we see Connie, the smoke, the dust, and the soot and the coal kind of making her way through the woods. And as the walkers are like ripping her apart limb by limb, Connie falls over. And then Virgil comes up, and then Connie wakes up. So we see like the death of somebody we didn't expect, and then we get the story answered of Connie, and we weren't sure about it. So I think that would have driven the point home a little bit, and there again, it would have given Beta that last little rung, and would have kind of lit that fire in Daryl. So then Daryl's kill would have been vindicating Connie, even though he didn't know Connie was there, but also Kelly in a way. So yeah, I think that would have been a good narrative. And if it would have happened like that, what would we have been talking about last night? I mean, it would have been emotional, right? It'd have been like, wow, Beta. What did Beta do? I mean, I don't know. It just would have had a different feeling, a different vibe. Maybe there's more to come. Yeah, I agree with that, Angel. It didn't feel like a finale. It felt like a good episode. Not, but we'll follow it up with this question. What was what was the crescendo? What was the big reveal? I mean, for a finale. It was Eugene's story, right? Because they kind of drowned it out the Maggie thing at the end. So we know that's a story. They did show us Connie. That was closure. So we got the uncertainty with Maggie, the closure with Connie, and the storyline with the Commonwealth. So I think that's I don't maybe they underestimated a little bit. I would say this too. Much like we know the issue with the whispers and the abuse and everything with Lydia, and I think the comic fans probably had. Well, let me ask it this way: do you think the comic book fans who also watched the show had a better appreciation and more of a disdain for Alpha than people that only watched the show? I'll ask it like that. And it's rhetorical, I understand. But it's also important to know your audience, right? I mean, the Walking Dead writers have to know that not everybody's a comic book reader. So I think they made the mistake again with the Commonwealth because not every Walking Dead fan, Walking Dead television fan, is ready for this futuristic sci-fi transition. We saw it with World Beyond. We're seeing it now with The Walking Dead, and I don't know if the audience is quite ready for that. And I think that's probably to me what made it feel more like an episode and less like a finale because the big cliffhangers, hey, put down your weapons. Last time, put down your weapons, put down your weapons. And you've only seen that like 100 million times in every TV show and every movie that's ever been done. Surrounded, bright lights, put down your weapons, you're trapped, you got to surrender. So it's not surprising that happens. It's it's probably surprising that we don't know the intent of the people that are doing that. Did they just trick them? Is it just precautionary? Those are the questions, and I think for a cliffhanger, it's I don't know that it's going to make people talk about the cliffhanger. I think it's probably going to make people want to know what happens in the comics. So we're kind of going backwards again. All good suggestions. I mean, we got a lot of good suggestions tonight. Well, Anne Marie, it's a good point. I mean, we know Heath's out there. Is Heath in this group? Is Heath with Jadis? Is Heath in New York? Is he in Omaha? Is he in Portland? Is he in Pennsylvania? I think what you have to be careful, though, is we don't get too many narratives that we just get kind of super confused. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing our CSI work and breaking it down, but World Beyond is a challenge in itself. Luckily, Fear doesn't challenge us too much yet, but you never know. Could get better. I mean, Morgan's got those red eyes, so I mean, there is something that we're going to be able to talk about. So, I've seen conflicting reports on this. The time frame with World Beyond is not as far in the future as it suggests. I actually heard no. Trigger. Because I initially thought 10 years, and the most recent article I read said it is similar in time frame, indicating a few years difference. So initially, same thing. I'd heard 10 years, but I heard that they're getting them all closer. The characters said 10 years, but they didn't say 10 years from what? The day the sky fell. 10 years from when it started. It's very vague with World Beyond. Because The Walking Dead is 10 years in the range of 10 years in. So they made it a point to say 10 years, but what's interesting is the helicopters, Portland, Omaha, Texas, I'm going to say it's only a few years that this has kind of been going on. Here's why. They just took Rick. So they took Rick, and then they took this Leopold Bennett. So they're in the process of taking people, which means they've been rebuilding. So the night the sky fell, I don't think it's a full 10 years. I think there's some room for the Rick Grimes movies, but I don't think we're going to get a 10-year time lapse. But to my point, see, that's what makes it confusing. Because now, anything that's said on one show is going to be taken at face value. So we just got through the time skip with Fear the Walking Dead. So now when you hear like Portland, okay, you're going to be looking for any clue on all the other shows. I mean, we'll dig down, but that's a whole version of speculation in and of itself, is to try to find out what the difference in time. And we'll see some of these clues, but hey, let me put it like this. The people who are surrounding Eugene certainly look like they're close to current of what's going on in Omaha. And again, how long has Rick been gone? 7 years? So, if Rick's already been gone 7 years and it's 10 years, maybe from the time Rick was there, that could, in theory, give you that 2 to 3 year range. Here's what I think is even more telling. How long is it going to take a group of people to walk from Omaha to New York 1,100 miles? And we know that World Beyond is going to be 2 years. So I'm not saying it's real time, but they're just not walking unimpeded. I mean, it's going to be like The Fugitive. So I think 10 years, Rick's been gone 7 years, 2 to 3 years to get to New York. You're going to probably get close with the time frames and the skips and everything. But from what I've seen with Commonwealth, it looks fairly current. Wow, we got some great chat tonight. So we started out at 8 o'clock. We're already like an hour, almost an hour and a half in. So we are going to wind it down. But the good news is, instead of doing a double shot tomorrow, how about we get together tomorrow night at 8 o'clock again, and we have an extended stream tomorrow night. We'll talk more Fear, more Walking Dead universe. We'll talk Morgan. And it'll give us all a little bit more time to do a little bit of our investigative research. So we're going to do it again, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, everybody. So be here. Do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me give a few shout-outs. I want to give a shout-out to all the Patreons, all the Play Dead Live sponsors. If you guys don't know what Play Dead Live is, I'm going to show you a dance video in a little bit with some of our characters, some things that we do. And also, I give you guys some shout-outs along the way. If you guys want to be a member of the Green Team, hit that join button, custom emojis, and you show support for a great channel with great causes. Our moderators, Ben, Julia, Amy, Kel, Tommy the Tank, and my biggest, if you guys ever want to be a part of what we do in addition to Walking Dead and show some love, support for this channel, show up and play some Play Dead Live. It's a game that I invented, and we've got a lot of players. If you like the narratives, you like the alt storylines, I think you'll like some of the stuff that we do. So here's a little sneak peek of some of our members with a little bit of music in the background, and then some of the stuff that we fight. And do me a favor, type 999 along the way, and I'll give you a few shout-outs while this dance video is playing. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow night. And here's an intro into Graves of Craven, too. Hey, big shout outs. Thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate you. Jan Step, pleasure. Everybody, give me a quick 999 and see if you can recognize some of the real people that are our members in this chat. Thanks again.